Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa. I'm a stay-at-home mom to one little girl. Her name is Ellie. She is 10 months old, and I wanted to make this video for quite a few months, and I finally am getting around to doing it. I wanted to share my experience using these easy at-home ovulation test strips. These are really popular on Amazon, thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews. They're really reasonably priced compared to some of the other brands out there, the over-the-counter ovulation tests. So I just wanted to share my experience using these because I think that they are helpful. I think there's pros and cons, but I'll get into that into this video. But let's just go ahead and get started. Just getting this video started, I'm having such a hard time, and I keep like stopping, refilming. I just want to again also throw out there, in addition to not taking my video as professional medical advice, I also just don't want this video to trigger anyone in the wrong way. I know that pregnancy, trying to conceive, fertility in general is such a touchy subject. It's such a triggering subject, and if you are someone who is struggling with that right now, please don't. Maybe this video isn't for you. I just don't want this to hurt anyone. I don't want it to make anyone feel worse about their situation. I'm just sharing our experience, and if you are struggling with fertility, I'm thinking about you. I'm so sorry if you are struggling. It is so unfair, and I really hope and pray that your journey has a happy ending. So with that, I will finally get started, and please, again, I'm trying to be so careful with my words. I do not want to offend anyone. I do not want to trigger anyone. I just want to share our experience. So, when we first started trying to have a baby 2 years ago, I had heard about these ovulation strips. I'd seen them on Amazon. I've heard about them because I was watching videos on YouTube at that time about trying to conceive. It was all like new to me. I didn't really understand, to be honest, like the timing of like when you try, I guess. Like I didn't really understand a lot of that stuff, so I became, or you know, I educated myself on that, and then I came across this product. They're called Easy at Home Pre-Mom Ovulation Test Strips, and this is actually a pack that comes with ovulation test, and then it also comes with pregnancy test, and it's a really a couple things that I really like about these is that they're very easy to use, they're very inexpensive, and I find that they're accurate, or at least they were accurate for me. So after a couple of months of using these, I was able to determine that I was ovulating, which was such a blessing, such great news. It took some time to get used to the ovulation test strips, and I'm going to show you a picture of my line progression the month that I did get pregnant. So the way that an ovulation test strip works is that two lines always do show up. However, if the test line is not darker than the control line, then it is negative. Unlike a pregnancy test, if you see two lines, then it's positive. But with an ovulation test, you're always going to see two lines, and to know that it's positive, the test line has to be darker or the same color as the control line. So that's the difference, and that took some getting used to, and it was always kind of difficult to see, like, okay, I think it's really dark, I think it's really dark, I think it's really dark, and then like you take it the next day and it's a little bit darker, and then it's a little bit darker. So I feel like after doing this for a couple of months, you can really start to see the pattern and start to isolate which day you're ovulating. If you have a regular cycle, and that just took a couple of months for me to understand and like just kind of like see where the actual peak was. Well, what I will say about these test strips, while I feel like they're really accurate and they give you good information and a good indicator if you are ovulating, which is necessary if you are trying to have a baby, these can become very anxiety inducing. They can become very obsessive, and I don't know, they can kind of like take the fun take the fun out of like trying to have a baby, I think, for a lot of people, because it feels very scheduled. So, you know, I'll just like throw that out there. I would say that that is the one disadvantage of doing something like this. You can become so obsessed with like taking these tests and like trying to figure out the right day, and then like it becomes like a science experiment trying to like have a baby. So that is one thing I will say, but overall our experience was positive. The thing I like about these is if you mess up, or if you drop it or lose it or whatever the case may be, you drop it in the sink or you drop it in the toilet or whatever, these are so inexpensive compared to some of the over-the-counter tests. Clear Blue makes one that a lot of people love and have so much success with, so I'm definitely not saying that that one is not great. I know that it is, and a lot of people really like it, but it is a bit more expensive. And if you are planning on tracking for several months, or if you have to track for several months, like while you're trying to conceive, I would first try these easy at home because they're just a lot cheaper and a lot, you know, you won't feel as bad. I feel like, I think if I would have blown like $100 on ovulation tests every month that I didn't get pregnant, that would just kind of be like another like dagger, because it's already upsetting enough, I think, when you're trying to conceive and you find out that you're not pregnant at the end of the month, and then to also know that you spent like all this money on tests. And I'll just also give my feedback on the pregnancy test. These pregnancy tests are great. I found out on, I think, 9 DPO that I was pregnant with Ellie with these tests. So what I did, I would test with these first, and if I saw any type of line, then I would go ahead and take a first response test to confirm the pregnancy, because those work really well. Those are my favorite. The first response early result pregnancy tests are my favorite, but I start with these, and if I see anything, if I'm like squinting and I see anything, then I'll go ahead and take one of those, because again, those can get expensive if you're taking those constantly. So let me go ahead and show you my line progression from getting pregnant with Ellie. I still have it. It's just in my notebook. Keep in mind that these are almost 2 years old at this point, so the lines may look a little bit faded as they used, like what they used to be when I like took them originally, but you can still see the progression, and I think that this would just be helpful, and it was really helpful for me when people shared their experience with these. So yes, let me show you. Okay, here is my ovulation line progression from the month that I got pregnant with our daughter Ellie. Keep in mind again that these tests are like almost 2 years old, a year and a half old at this point. So just keep that in mind. These could have faded a little bit, but I think that it still shows directionally what you should be looking for. So let me just kind of walk you through. So these are all the tests I took, obviously, and CD stands for cycle day. Cycle day 1 is the first day of your period. So I started testing on cycle day 8, and cycle day 8 was probably like a couple days after my period ended. Let's just say my period was like 5-6 days long, and then a couple days later I decided, okay, I'm going to start testing. So the ovulation strip itself, the line to the right, this is called the control line. The control line always shows up when you take an ovulation test, and it is typically, it's kind of actually always pretty dark. You use that to compare it to your test line, and your test line is to the left. The test line will change throughout the month and get darker as your cycle progresses. So as you can see on cycle day 8, at the very beginning, it's very, very faint. You can barely see it. Every day that passes, it gets a little bit darker, a little bit darker, a little bit darker. On cycle day 12, starting on cycle day 12, I started taking 2 tests a day. I think I probably took 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And I did that because I knew it was getting closer to ovulation time, and I just wanted to, like, you don't need to do that. I was just being kind of ridiculous and like kind of over the top, but I did take 2 a day because I didn't want to like miss it, which like you're not going to miss it. But so see this progression here, and this is where ovulation tests can get a little bit tricky, because if you see right here on day 14, I think that looks pretty dark, right? But then on day 16, probably the night of the 16th cycle day, I that is when I determined that I was ovulating, because the test line was the same, if not darker, than the control line. This line can still get pretty dark leading up to ovulation as your like LH hormone is like elevating, I think is what it's called. But ultimately there's going to be one day where you'll get your left, if you're ovulating, the test line will be the same, if not darker, than the control line. And that is when you know that you're going to be ovulating in the next like 24 to 36 hours is what I had read online and when I was doing my research. And that would be the time that you would want to try to conceive, when you get that really dark line, the really dark test line. Ovulation happens at a different time for every single woman. However, it typically happens about halfway through your cycle. After months of doing this, I determined that most of the time I was ovulating between cycle day 15 and 17, and that was just through months of doing this line progression. So it was pretty predictable, but I always just still didn't want to miss it if for some reason it came a little bit early. So yes, this is what a positive ovulation test would look like. The test line on the left is this is just as dark or darker than the control line. Then, so I didn't take it the next stage because I guess I just figured I'm fine. I already, I know that I ovulated, and then I stopped testing the rest of the month. Then, some months I kept testing all the way through, but I don't have those progressions anymore. I only kept the one that I got pregnant with Ellie on. And then on 9 DPO, which is 9 days past ovulation, so 9 days past the 17th cycle day, is when I found out that I was pregnant with Ellie. And you might be able to see a very, very faint line right there on the left. And then the next day got a little bit darker. And then from there, I ended up switching over to, the first response pregnancy test. But yeah, this was my experience. This is what it looks like. Don't look at this in isolation and think, oh my God, it took 1 month. That was not my journey. It took several tries. And let me just turn the camera around. But yeah, I hope that was informative for you guys. Again, this is just to share more about the product itself and how it works and our experience using it. Please don't look at that one progression and think like, oh, she got pregnant like right away, super easy. Like, it did take several months, and I'm not going to say how many months because I don't want to make anyone feel bad, and I'll just say it took several months, and we actually did experience a miscarriage before we did get pregnant with Ellie, and it was just devastating. It was the hardest time in my life for sure. I was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. So anyway, I hope that this was informative for you guys. If you have any helpful tips or commentary, or if you've used ovulation chest strips, if you've used these or different ones, and you want to start a conversation in the comments down below, I think that would be great. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe if you like mom content. I also do a lot of cleaning on my channel, cleaning motivation, and kind of some shopping stuff too, kind of a little bit of everything, but a focus on motherhood for sure. Please subscribe to my channel if you're interested, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.